Welcome to Insights from the Couch, where real conversations meet real life at midlife.
We're Colette and Laura, two therapists and best friends, walking through the journey right alongside you. Whether you're feeling stuck, restless, or just unsure of what's next, this is a space for honest conversations, messy truths, and meaningful change.
And our Midlife Master Class is now open. If you're looking to level up, get into action, and make midlife the best season yet, go to insightsfromthecouch.org and join our waitlist. Now let's dive in.
Hi guys, today we are talking about a big thing. We're talking about the 7 skills you need to master midlife. These are the skills that we think are the things that are going to make midlife manageable, help you get your goals. These are the things that we really work with in our Midlife Master Class, and we want to just dig really deep into them today, right?
Yeah, this is kind of the foundation that you need at this stage of life to live your best life. And Laura and I were chatting before we got on just about how, you know, we redid our website and we love it and we had so much fun doing it, and the pictures show us so happy and laughing. And it's not that we're not like happy, but it's the highlight reel, right? It looks so sunny and like life is so great. And
I know, I'm like, we look so damn good. We're cute.
Right. And first of all, we're not always that cute. And second of all, life is really hard for all of us, I think, in so many different ways. We've all got our different challenges that we're dealing with, but there's a universality to it, which I always find so comforting. So many of us are going through so many of the same things. We're taking care of aging parents. We're experiencing loss. We're parenting children. Our children have issues of some kind that break our heart. We're worried for them. We're busy. We're managing careers. We're navigating relationships. I mean, I hear from so many people because of how active I am on social media and how much I open up about my own marital struggles, my own divorce. You know, then people know I'm a couples therapist. So many people message me privately and say, oh my God, I'm going through exactly this right now. You know, there's just so much at midlife. Then we haven't even mentioned, of course, perimenopause and menopause and those enormous changes. So I think it's tough for all of us, but these are the skills that Laura and I have curated that we teach in the Midlife Master Class. And we actually have a freebie on our website too, insightsfromthecouch.org, where you can download this exact like the document to go back over all of this. But we want to dive deep and give you some value today that you can use right away on how these skills can help you. It's not going to make the challenges go away, but it can make them a little easier.
Yeah. And just like to your point, I mean, there are so many times that you and I sit together and just cry.
Just to be real.
Just to be real. I mean, just cry. And I mean, life is so much a game of like chutes and ladders and Candyland. And sometimes you just cannot believe where you are in moments. And you and I definitely are always grappling with those things. Our lives are not perfect. And one of the things that has helped me so much is doing therapy. People often say to me, and I don't know if they say this to you, how do you do this all day? How do you sit here and listen to people all day? Is this exhausting for you? And I'm thinking, no, it's not exhausting. And it's a reminder. And I wish everybody could come in with me and just sit and witness the human experience and what people go through, because it's so normalizing. And you realize, oh, everybody is struggling with some version of the same issue.
Some of this. Yes.
Yes. So, and I think what we're saying with this episode today is that some of the skills we've learned as being therapists are the things, it's like the scaffolding that's made us able to cope with hard.
Yep. Beautifully said. It's so true. I'm thinking about it. You know, one of the biggest benefits, other than the fact that being a therapist is such a rewarding job, it can be such a challenging job. And I'm not going to pretend it's all sunshine and roses, but it is rewarding to know you're doing something where you're really impacting people and helping them. And it can be so gratifying in that sense. Like I feel like we couldn't have a more meaningful, purposeful job.
Yeah.
So I love that. But the other thing is that by becoming a therapist, the training we go through in graduate school and just sitting with people, not only the normalization, but the skills you need as a therapist, some of what we're going to talk about today, to be able to communicate assertively, to be able to hold boundaries. It was becoming a therapist that helped me develop a lot of these skills. And if not for that, I'm not sure I would have them all. So as you guys listen to these 7, some of these you may already have pretty locked down. Maybe all of them are still a struggle, but just be listening for where you are and what you could improve on, because we're all a work in progress. And even though I've gotten so much better at boundaries and I'm a recovering people pleaser, which some people literally don't believe that I could be a people pleaser because I have such a strong part that gives 0 fucks and is like, I'm doing what I want. But it depends on the context. And in places where I feel vulnerable or I could lose a relationship or I'm afraid to offend or disappoint, I used to have a very hard time holding boundaries. I'm pretty good at it now, but it's still a struggle.
It's always a struggle.
It's always a struggle, right? And we're still up against good girl conditioning that I call good girl-itis. I don't care how powerful you are at work.
No one wants to be the bitch.
Right. And that's the problem. Often as women, we're seen as a total bitch if we're just a normal, assertive human being who isn't constantly like rolling over on our bellies for the world.
Right.
So let's get
into it. Yeah.
Let's get into it. Okay. All right. So I don't know. We don't have to go in order necessarily. Let's talk about boundaries first since we're on it.
Okay. I mean, we talk so much about boundaries, but as I was thinking about this today, I was thinking about our drama triangle episode, and I was thinking that the part of boundaries that we don't talk enough about is a part where we understand what's on our side of the fence or our side of the. I envision my relationships with other people like a tennis court.
Okay.
Right. And what's on my side of the net is really mine. Mm-hmm. And what's on their side of the net is really theirs. Mm-hmm. And I see so many people when they come into therapy, like completely tangled in the net because they're like over the net into other people's space. And so much when we talk about boundaries, we're always like, what do we need? Where do we need to set boundaries? But part of boundaries that we don't talk enough about is recognizing the autonomy of other people and knowing where to step back from other people and let people make their own choices. I talked about this a lot in the drama triangle, but it's a place where people just get really messed up.
Yeah.
And what was the thing you said in our drama triangle episode? I wrote it down because it was one of our reels and I was like, I love this. I love this.
I have no idea. I can't remember what I said 5 minutes ago.
Oh my God. You
Tell
said
me.
People have a foundationally distorted perception of what they're responsible for with the people that they care about.
Oh, it gave me chills, my own words. Yeah.
Drop the mic.
It's so true. Right. Mic drop. And I love your metaphor. First of all, I just gave a talk to a tennis team about the mental game of tennis. So tennis has been on my mind.
Oh, good.
And also, I think it's such a great visual metaphor because whether you play tennis or not, I pictured somebody like in the net. And then I also pictured somebody from a boundary perspective serving the ball and then running to the other side to try to hit the ball back and like elbowing the person out of the way so they can return the shot, then running back over. This is metaphorically what a lot of people are trying to do in life. They're trying to manage everyone. So we're talking about not only having boundaries with other people, but self-imposed boundaries.
Yes.
Recognizing when you feel an urge to get involved that maybe you don't have to. Like I went to, I won't even say which child, so that way I keep it a little bit anonymous, but I was with one of my children yesterday and hearing about her plans and what's going on in her relationship. She is an adult. And when I heard the details of the current relationship and so I just wanted to pull every hair out of my head and scream.
You wanted to climb over the net.
Run. Like this dude sounds like Bad News Bears. Like I just, Oh my God, from the apartment, the animal he has, she's never going to listen to this episode. So thank God. My kids are like, I have no interest in your podcast, Mom. Yeah, they're like, that podcast for old people. But this guy also has like already has a track record of not being super honest. Like, it's just awful. And then she said to me, I know it's kind of toxic, but like, I just can't get out of it. And I mean, right? So I was like, yes, you can. She goes, yeah, I don't really know how to do it. I said, you say, this isn't working for me. Goodbye. Right? Yeah. So, and she's like, well, that's real easy for you to say, Mom. But my point in this is that every fiber of my soul, we're walking around Home Goods and I'm hearing this, and you know how expressive my face is, and I know how expressive my face is. So I'm trying to keep my face neutral and impassive, but I wanted to take her and just say, no, you have to leave this relationship now. This isn't good for you. It's only going to get worse. You're going to get hurt. I don't even know if this guy is like safe to be around. What the fuck are you doing? And we're ending this now. Like, I literally want to call the guy and break up with him for her. Yeah. So anyway, my point as I go on and on here is that, it may seem super obvious that that's where I shouldn't be involved, but I'm a relationship therapist. My kid is suffering. I've had phone calls from her sobbing over this guy. He doesn't sound like a great guy. And, I had to have that moment where I said, okay, all I can do is offer like a tidbit or two if I'm invited to be here and to be supportive, to give some feedback. And at one point she was like, Mom, I really don't want to hear it. Like, I really don't want to hear it. Like, I already know I don't want to hear it from you. And I'm like, okay, it's right. Oh, how many times have I been in a toxic relationship? I've been in a toxic relationship like at twice her age. So I need to let her figure it out, even if she gets hurt more, instead of running onto the other side of the tennis court and
stealing her racket.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you got to let people have their own growth experiences. And to that end, I think, and maybe we'll talk about it more in other areas today, but it's about some people just don't know what to do on their side of the court.
Right.
They just
because they're so busy with the other side of the court.
They're so busy and they just don't know what to do, and they don't know how to redirect their energy back to themselves. But so when I think of boundaries, yes, we do have to learn that no is a complete sentence. We don't have to over-explain. The amount of people that love to over-explain to me, I mean, my God, like, you get good at saying really simple things like, I have a conflict. This isn't going to work for me. Can we come up with something else? I don't want to. Yeah. I'm exhausted.
Yeah,
whatever
I'm not
the truth
available.
Is. Yeah.
Right. And I agree. I think there are some contexts where an explanation is warranted or helpful, but over explaining, no. And we tend to think we need to. And you're right. Just saying, unfortunately, that won't work for me. Can we do X, Y, Z? Like, you don't have to. You don't really owe people anything.
Yeah. And we've done a lot of episodes on boundaries.
Right. But just as a reminder, having boundaries with yourself, too, not just with overextending with other people, but I think part of boundaries also is self-care, like directed at self-care. I'm not going to have, I would eat like Krispy Kreme donuts all day, every day, even on GLP-1 shots. I would still
Really?
Yes. Like that's
But you have a boundary that says like, I'm not going to eat like that.
Yeah, it could probably be better, but like, I like junky food. That's like what I like. It's been that way since I'm a kid. I'm going to be 52 years old and I'd still rather eat that than salads. But yes, a boundary, a self-imposed boundary. And, for other people, that one, most women eat far healthier than I do, I think. So maybe that's just an example that pertains to me. But, making sure you're taking care of yourself is holding a boundary, that you're drinking enough water, that you're getting enough sleep. Like, those are part of self-care, taking care of inner parts of self that we have to implement on a regular basis.
Yeah. Knowing how much exercise you need, how much sleep you need, how much alcohol you can tolerate. All those things are self-imposed boundaries.
Right. Not from a punishing standpoint, but from a self-loving.
An awareness of, this is me. This is how I work best.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think from here, as we're talking about these 7 skills to master midlife, that we teach in the Midlife Master Class. Let's go into assertive communication for a minute since we're on boundaries, because that's another one of the skills. If you haven't learned how to communicate assertively, and this is like my whole career, my whole book that's coming out, it's so misunderstood. I think it's very important to be diplomatic. And as women, my hope for every woman is at this season of life, we come into our own, we find our voice, and we can be direct and clear, but still diplomatic, still kind. We don't have to be nice and caving, but it's exactly what you're saying, Laura. I can't do that. I'm not comfortable with that. No. Here's when I'm available. Here's when I'm not available. What I will tell you as somebody who, and not to mention bringing up what bothers you in your relationship and being able to communicate clearly what you need. But I will tell you as someone who really struggled to be assertive, I was passive aggressive. I would just say yes to things that I didn't want to do because I felt like I should, because I felt like I would be judged or I would be seen to this or that. And then I'd feel resentful and frustrated and all of that stuff. Once you start exercising this muscle and seeing how well most people respond to kind, clear, direct communication, it becomes so easy.
Yeah. I also think this is an area that's been hard for me. I've developed asymmetrically on this. I think most people do develop asymmetrically, and meaning that there's areas where you can get really good. I'm really good at this in certain areas with close others. And
who are you good at this with? And who are you not
good? My inner circle. My inner circle. Like, it's very real here in our house.
Right.
Nothing is left unsaid.
Right. Same with my house.
It's very easy for me to say, like, that hurt my feelings. That wasn't helpful. That's not okay with me. I can say the real thing with close others. I've also gotten pretty good at it with work because I had to.
Yep. Me too.
I think where I struggle the most with it is where I know where I go, I don't know if it's worth it. If there's somebody that I think I could say that hurt my feelings, or I could say that bothered me, but I don't know if it's worth it. Like, I don't know if I really want to deal with that. And sometimes I'll inhibit still on moments like that. Yeah. And with strangers, I do not like conflict with strangers.
Me neither.
Like, if somebody gets aggressive with me in the car, I just pretend I don't see them. If somebody's like, I do not fight back. I am like I'm like, how quickly can we get through this without having to have conflict? But I'm much better in situations where I have to send food back or ask for what I need. I don't sit there and eat a meal I didn't order.
Oh my God, I find that insane.
Yeah.
And also what I think is missing is you can do it nicely. I will always send food back or explain what isn't right in the food, but I'm always nice about it, and I think that's the part, to me, that's the part that's missing for a lot of people, because some people will only assert themselves when they're relying on a burst of emotion or anger to propel them. And so then it can sometimes come out sideways. Now, hopefully part of our skill here is the emotional regulation of being able to, sometimes you are angry and you still have to regulate yourself enough. But the beauty of assertiveness is it's saying the thing without relying on anger to make you to make it easy. Because when you're angry, you don't care. You're just say the thing, right? You fire it off, but usually it doesn't come out best. And I think what you're saying about sometimes it's not worth it, I actually think that's part of the process that we should be having for everything. I don't think we have to say everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes it isn't worth it. But I think the problem is so many women that we see in our office as therapists, friends we have, and I know how we both used to be more, is that we're not saying things that need to be said. Like maybe we're saying in our households, nothing goes unsaid. But let's say it's a particularly stressful time in our husband's job, or we've been fighting a lot lately, and there's something that needs to be said, but it feels like, oh my God, this is going to lead to another freaking fight. I'm exhausted. I'm not even sure I'm going to be heard. Why bother? Those are the things that we're saying, you know what, that's where you probably need to push yourself to say it anyway. It doesn't have to be that second, but it needs to be said, because otherwise, when it comes to close relationships or work, if we start to swallow things that matter and we rationalize them away, we end up so filled with resentment. And this is the foundation of my book, The Cost of Quiet, why these things have to be said, because in the long run, it isn't worth the cost of keeping it in. But you have a friend that you don't know that well, you know, you don't see her that often. She said something that hurt your feelings. Maybe the relationship isn't close enough. It's not worth it to be like, hey, when we went to lunch on Thursday, what you said really hurt my feeling. You know, maybe it is. If you're going to if she's important to you and you're going to resent her and it's going to affect the friendship, maybe it is. But if you don't care that much, you let it go.
Right. So discernment is a huge piece of it. But I definitely agree with close people like your partner. I think when you let those things fester, people end up pulling away from each other and just living in their like silent little encampments. Yeah. And you never get your needs met anyway. So figuring out how to say the real thing in a warm and appropriate way that's assertive is a chef's kiss skill that everybody needs at this phase.
And let me add one more thing before we move on, because I know we have a lot more to get to. That part of this is learning to tolerate the frustration that comes with knowing sometimes you will disappoint someone. There are people who won't have a good reaction, you know, and that's okay. The more you do that, the more you realize, oh, it's really actually not that bad. There's no way for it to feel more comfortable than to do it.
When you say that, I feel like that skill needs to be in here, is like the frustration tolerance, the negativity tolerance.
Let's make that on here.
That needs to be one.
Yes, because we do teach that in the Midlife Master Class.
It's tolerating disappointing people, tolerating being disappointed.
Frustration tolerance.
Yeah, frustration tolerance is a skill, man. So that's just pinging for me that we've got to go right to self-connected communication. Because to me, this is the skill of my lifetime. This has been one of the biggest breakthroughs I've made. And I think it's a huge shift when people make this shift. And I learned it mainly from internal family systems. And if you don't know what internal family systems, it's Dick Schwartz's work out of Harvard. And he talks about how within all of us, we have an internal family, just like a whole group of people living inside of us that are different parts. The critic, the younger children, perfectionists, the angry part. There are all sorts of
scared little kids.
Little kids. All of it is inside. And so many people walk around the world just hijacked into a part all the time. They live through their angry part. They live through their critic. They live through their perfectionist. And they're not what we call self-led. And being led by the self is a totally different vibe. It's where you're calm, you're confident, you're connected, you're compassionate, you're creative. It's this power source. You're curious.
Yep.
It's a totally different energy source. And when you have a part that's leading you around, as opposed to having the self lead those parts, oh man, it's totally different. And it's been a huge shift I've made. I have a hell of an angry part. I mean, my angry part, I seem so chill, right?
Yeah.
Chill people tend to have very intense angry parts because I have to have like somebody to defend the castle, right?
Right.
So
it's a protective part of self.
Protective part of self.
And in IFS therapy, they call these parts firefighters or managers, where a manager is a part that comes out and tries to, just like a manager at a company, right? Like make sure everything goes a certain way. A firefighter is a part that comes out from a scientific standpoint when your nervous system is at max capacity, and that part just comes out right, and to make whatever's happening stop so the nervous system can cool down. And the problem problem with being hijacked by a firefighter part of self is that that part has one goal and one goal only, and that's to put out the fire. So it doesn't care who's hurt and what the consequences are in the process. And I'm with you that this has been a life-changing thing for me. It's the foundation of what I do in couples therapy, because fight or flight is when we get into these parts, and emotional regulation is so much of a part of relationship struggle. And I learned to do parts work because Dick Schwartz is wonderful and I love IFS, but he didn't come up with this either. You know, there's other versions of it. It's been around
EFT
a long time. Yeah. Well, and ego state therapy.
Yeah.
And going all the way back to object relations. But anyway, not to get too psychobabbly, that when I became an EMDR therapist, which is the eye movement trauma therapy for you guys who aren't familiar with it, we do a ton of ego state and parts work because it helps you to have a relationship. Like, we all have these parts of self and they're going to pop out in different moments. But I think a big foundation of our work as therapists and our work in the Midlife Master Class is helping all of us get in touch with our own internal family, our own internal team, to know all of these parts, to accept them and to listen to them. But like you said, Laura, to put the wisest, most grounded adult self driving the bus, leading the system. I call that the sage self. And that is the you. You know, I always picture my sage self as like, for some reason, I have brown hair. I'm wearing no makeup. I mean, I am a brunette, but like, I hate how I look with brown hair. But anyway, in this image, I have brown hair, no makeup. I'm wearing these ratty pants that have like a hole in them, these old yoga pants I lost and miss, and I'm barefoot. That is the image that comes to me for my sage self. And why this is such a skill, and another one of the skills we talk about is having a good relationship with your inner critic, is because anytime I feel lost or I feel overwhelmed or I'm getting rattled, I can check in with, I can close my eyes, I put my hand on my heart, and I can check in with that sage self, that girl with the brown hair that looks terrible, but she's so like calm and happy. It's like your intuition, you know, it's your wisest self. But having the relationship established as an ongoing practice and a skill is what enables you to have access to that part in a difficult moment.
Yeah. I mean, this is like half of what I do when I walk. You know, my meditative walks, I am talking to parts. And I let them come up. They come up anyway. I mean, when I get into my body, my parts kind of soften and rise. And so knowing them when they come up, I'm ahead of them. I can feel in my body when that anger piece is getting going. It's got a very cyclical energy in my system. And I can get ahead of it and go, I'm here. Like, I'm going to handle this. I don't fly off the handle in the same way I used to when I was younger, when I was so unconscious.
Me too.
Now I go to that part. I listen to that part. I'm like, okay, I got this. I'm going to handle it. My wise adult's going to handle it.
Right.
And just that slowing down, that being mindful of those parts, it's a game changer in how you function.
I agree. And it's not an intellectual, I mean, it's hard to, again, this is something we do experientially in our group, and we do experientially as therapists all the time. It's a process. It's really not enough to know, oh, this is, I have that part of me intellectually.
It's a felt sense.
Right. You have to actually connect to it. So what I would say, if you're listening to this episode and you're not doing our class or seeing a therapist who does this kind of work, is just start by closing your eyes for 30 seconds and notice what parts pop up. Notice what voice you hear. I'm very visual. I see everything like a movie. Some people can't visualize at all. So don't force anything, but images may come to you. And if not, you'll hear a voice. Like, one of our other skills, like I mentioned, is the inner critic. You will often hear an inner critic part. Mine is named Jane, and that's my middle name. It's also my mom's name, but it has nothing to do with that. And Mom, I know you're probably listening, so please don't take it that way. It's just more alter ego, and she's in a suit, and she's very polished, but she's very exacting. And she's very quick to be like, oh God, Colette, really? Like, we're still doing this? This isn't good enough. Like, how could you make that same mistake? Now, she has her values. She's trying to protect me and help me. But that, I have a whole relationship with that part of me where I try to thank her for her feedback. But again, come back to my yoga pants girl and let her drive the bus. So it is so important because the brain runs negative and it's a survival imperative. We all have an inner critic, and some of ours are harsher than others. If you grew up in an environment where parents were very critical, your school environment was critical, it may be even stronger. Just start to notice that voice. Close your eyes for a minute and see if you can get curious. Part of what we do is to speak to these parts directly, like you're talking about, Laura, asking them, hey, what do you want me to know? What are you
afraid of?
Yes. What are you afraid
They're
will
usually
happen?
very afraid of things that they don't step in.
And they're very afraid that the worst will happen if they don't do what they're doing. So sometimes when we can hear those messages and from that sage self say, hey, that makes sense. And like, I've got you, I'm here. That adult self is here now and I can handle it. It's very grounding. It's very calming. And this really helps us know ourselves. Then sometimes how we're polarized, where one part of us wants one thing and one part of us wants another. So if we can develop relationships, we can get answers from the self.
Yes. It's such a game changer. And obviously you can imagine how it's a game changer in relationships because you're not pulled as quickly into the fight or flight. Or if you are, you have a way of slowing it down. I obviously, my inner critic, Bonsidine. She's an interject of like my mother and my grandmother's, and she is a pill.
She can be harsh. She can be harsh.
That's what you're wearing? Like, oh, really? Like, you're doing that? Like, why are you doing that?
Yeah, we've talked about the fact that, like, we both grew up in kind of, like, elitist environments. So we both have, like, our inner critics have a little haughty side.
They're haughty and, scathing. And you have to,
and that is not who I am at all. But we internalize our environment. So there's a part of self that can come out like that.
And this is the seat, as you can imagine, of self-compassion.
Yes.
Like when people are like, I have no self-compassion. I can't forgive myself. I can't be compassionate towards self. When you have relationships with the inner system, self-compassion becomes obvious. All right, let's go to the next one because we're running long.
Okay, I want to talk about two more that I think we need to talk about since we're adapting this as we go. Protecting energy and resilience. Let's touch on those two.
Yeah, I mean, protecting energy, I find that it's just understanding. I'm one of these people that my energy goes out the door. I've been parenting for 24 years almost. I am a therapist, so I hold space for people professionally. My energy perks up when there's somebody to listen to or take care of. And then when I am with myself, I can sometimes deflate like a balloon and be like, oh, finally I'm like by myself. And then I perk up again when there's somebody to attend to. And I see that a lot, that people don't even know how to be with themselves or how to even sit with their own energy. And for a long time I said to you, how many years did I say to you? I feel like I'm stuck in like literally the foreground of my life. I go to the store. I do another load of laundry. I pick up another kid from school. Like it's rinse and repeat. I felt like I was living in a circle and that nothing ever really came back to me, that I wasn't ever really building anything. And it really running saved me in this regard because it was the one ritual I had where I did come home to myself.
Yeah.
And it's only been the last 5 to 7 years, I think, where I've really mindfully taken a good deal more for myself.
Yes.
And built my own side of my court.
Yes.
My own identity.
Exactly. Building the tennis court that you want and dream of. Mine would be all pink.
Would it?
I'm just picturing. That's what came to me, like a pink tennis court. I'm such a. That
feels very clueless. Vibes.
I know. That's okay. I'm down with that. But as you're talking, And we're so different in terms of our energy sources. So we're sort of like a yin and yang energetically. And when I come alive around people, but when it's like light and social and intellectually stimulating and, my favorite thing to do would be to spend 24 hours in a cafe on like a European sidewalk, just engaging with people, having conversations. The old version of this would be with cigarettes and copious amounts of wine. I
could pop in for an hour.
Yes. Yes,
you could be there for 24.
Yes, like I would be so alive and engaged and excited because people bring me energy. But I also think whether it's needing time alone, needing time with people, the idea of protecting your energy is that it really is a way that we're parenting ourselves. All these skills are about parenting yourself. That inner child is still in there, and we have to be a good steward of our whole system. We have to be good leaders. We have to take care of ourselves, and we have to make sure there's time and space for whatever energizes us. So to me also, it's a matter of protecting my energy, and my life is a matter of making sure, because I'm in a very busy work season, that it isn't all work. Like I have a strong id part, that I call fuck it girl. And she's the one who wants to go dance and drink and smoke cigarettes and talk and have fun. And she doesn't care about work or anything serious. And that's also a super fun part of me. So I need to make sure that that part gets some space and still gets to breathe and live, because otherwise my energy will get depleted if I'm all responsibility, all serious, Colette, all psychology, all work. Then I start to get out of balance. And that can happen so easily.
Yeah. And my version of this is very Martha Stewart. Like I need to be like around my house. I need to be creative. I need to be able to sort of wander. I love to be with myself.
Yeah.
I just feel as though as women, and maybe as I'm sort of more of a caregiver type, that my energy sort of perks to attention when I'm needed. And I can get a lot more, I don't know, that ennui when I'm not needed.
Yes.
So I think learning how to master your energy and reclaim your energy and say, like, this is mine. I'm actually putting time into building my own energy source. Like I see women that can come alive for their children in ways that is like so incredible. Like they've got like a 5-point plan for the college essay process, and they're booking trips all over the country,
nothing for themselves.
But they cannot find a shred of energy for themselves.
Right. And if that is even remotely resonating with you, you don't have to change your whole paradigm, but like think about claiming back 20%, like we've said before, 20% of your energy for you. In our first episode, when we talked about meaning and purpose, which is, I still love that episode. If you haven't listened to it, check it out. It was literally episode number 1. We talk a lot about that, about how much time and energy should go toward you. And there's different theories, but some should be going just to you. If you're giving it all away to other people, right, that is gonna blow up in your face eventually if it hasn't already. We're not designed as human beings to run our life. Like I always say to people, you're not a human vending machine. You're not just there waiting for people to push your buttons and eat all your snacks.
I love that. I mean, these are the same people who are caught in the net.
Right. Right.
They're caught in the net.
Right.
They're over the other side of the court. And if you don't learn that to like really invest in your side of the court, people will take from you, and you'll be the point person for all the aging
You'll
parents.
be the fucking giving tray.
And you will, and you probably have unrealistic expectations of what other people are supposed to be doing for you. So you're resentful.
Yeah.
And it's just a mess.
It's a mess. It's so interesting too, just random quick side note, and then let's touch on resilience. I don't really derive anything from being needed. Like that's not like a thing for me. It's so interesting. And I do feel like I'm needed. Maybe I just feel needed, so I don't think about it. But in a way, when I think about no one needing me, I feel a surge of like joy. Like, I don't think that is, maybe it's just I know I'm in the helping profession. and I care deeply about people, but I don't get anything out of that role or wanting to be needed. Like, to me, I feel great when I see my kids don't need me. They're thriving without me.
Yeah.
Like, I like the autonomous, and I'm not saying you feel it in a healthy way. I'm just musing about a difference that I feel the most free when, like you, I love being with myself, but when no one is expecting anything of me or wanting anything for me, and I can just like be in the world like a little free bird.
Yeah. I feel like I'm more ambivalent about it. I love that book, The Unbearable Lightness of Being.
That's my Milan Kundera. I've read it 4 times. It's one of my all-time favorite books.
But I think there's always this struggle between wanting weight in my life. This is for me, like wanting weight, meaning that I'm tied like an anchor to certain priorities, and then like fighting for lightness. Like I kind of want to be, but I don't want to be too light. Like, and maybe that's the difference here, but I need that tension to be just right for me.
I agree with that. And I think that's a separate thing even though, right? I mean, that's the point of the book. It's a philosophy book, but with lots of story in it.
Yeah.
That like, right. It's, if nothing means anything,
you blow away.
Right. So there does have to be enough grounding. Like sometimes I think, oh my God, if I were like a billionaire and I could just travel and chat with people and try food and go to museums and read books. But no, I actually wouldn't want that. I mean, I'm not going to like turn it away.
I wouldn't throw it out.
But I need, and I think most of us need, it's back to purpose and meaning. Everything can't be fun or it just becomes meaningless. It becomes pointless. And then we get into ennui. So I think we need the like gravitas, and we do need people. Maybe I don't want to be needed, but I want to be tethered. I want to have meaning.
It's just a really distinct difference, but it's important. I want to be tethered. I don't want to be clung to.
No. Okay. Amen to that. Oh, I just got goosebumps. Every time it's like so true, your body just responds. Mm-hmm. Exactly. You want to be tethered, but we don't want to be like tangled or suffocated or smothered or right. So all of these skills we're talking about, and as we round out, and again, you guys can download this. It's a free resource on our website, insightsfromthecouch.org, 7 skills to master midlife. And we give you some little tidbits to get you thinking and practicing. It's totally free. So check that out. But the last one, resilience, I do really see this as a skill more than it is an innate capacity.
Yeah. And I think it just is what we're talking about, you know, the idea of like that life would be so easy and how great that would be. I've had really easy parts of my life.
Me too.
They didn't feel great.
No. The time in my life that it was the easiest, I was miserable.
I was really miserable.
The time in life that I had the most money, the most resources, the least pushing on me, the fewest cares. Now, part of that is like I wasn't happy in my relationship. Maybe I would have experienced it differently if I was. But regardless, I felt like I had parts of myself that weren't developed, things I wanted to do, but I didn't know what the hell they were. There was nothing pushing me to have to do anything. So I couldn't really get started. And I did have this sense of ennui. And then also a worse sense of like, I should be happy. Why aren't I happy? I have everything. Ugh. And I was fucking miserable. I'm way happier now that my life is messy and filled with struggle.
I have to agree. You know, I have to agree because my life in the last couple of years has not been like the easiest for multiple reasons that I'm happy to get into at another time because I don't want to turn this into my therapy. But I will say that this has been such a powerful season of growth for me. And even though it hasn't been easy, it's been satisfying.
Yes. Okay. That's it.
Yeah. So the other parts were easy, but they weren't
not satisfying. Exactly.
So I wouldn't take anything from the struggle. I mean, maybe I'd take a little bit from the struggle.
I was going to say, I could think of a couple things I could do without.
Parts I'll give back.
But I still got something out of them. And you know what? I think even we should do a whole episode on resilience because I think it's a big topic. although we mention it as a skill, and it's foundational again to our work as therapists and the Midlife Master Class where we do the group coaching, because it's kind of a blanket thing. But I want to say two things about it. One is that there are people who have endured unbelievable hardships and tragedies and traumas. And I know a lot of clients I've worked with really resent this whole resilience. Like they resent the fact that they're so resilient because they've had to be. And that's a whole nother level and category. So I don't want to, short thrift that at all. That the amount of loss some people have had, the amount of like assaults and without deep diving into it, what we see and hear. And I was an EMDR therapist for many years. Like sometimes what we go through to become resilient, like it just isn't fair and it isn't right. But there's also, and I think what we're talking about here, the resilience, the skill of specifically being able to bounce back after mistakes, after failures, and let go of what you can't control. That's how I see resilience as a midlife skill, is that, and it goes along with frustration tolerance and all of these other skills, is okay, this isn't how I pictured my life to turn out. The resilience is just saying, okay, this is what is, and I accept it, and I find my joy within it, and I focus on what I can control, and I understand that like life, many parts of life are not going to be what we want. What we see as therapists is that people are most stuck when they're trying to force things to be the way they think they should be, instead of being able to tolerate what is. And even if you don't love it, to be able to accept and focus on the places that you have agency. So I see that as instrumental to resilience.
This is like the backbone of acceptance and commitment therapy, which I love. ACT therapy, if you want to look it up, is one of the most beautiful concepts. But
I agree.
But I too have gotten so much better at this. And to me, it's how I talk to myself through the hard.
Yep.
I am narrating things in such a better way, in a way that is like more helpful. And I know when I'm getting off track and I'm able to sort of pull myself back, find perspective, find gratitude, figure out what the next right move is. It's not perfect. I'm sitting with a lot of stuff that's messy, but I'm narrating it differently.
That's huge. Big. That's huge. Because as you're saying that, that's probably the biggest shift I've seen in me too. And I think this is one of the best things that could come out of therapy or like a good coaching experience, is learning to talk to yourself differently, because it's so hardwired. I used to be very berating and hard on myself and critical of mistake. Even things like, I'll tell clients, even stubbing your toe and saying like, you idiot, your psyche, your subconscious hears that. So when things don't go the right way or you make a mistake, it is important to take accountability and to look at what can I learn from this, but we don't have to do it in this hateful, self-loathing way. So many of us think we have to be hard on ourselves or we won't perform. But what the research shows is that we actually perform and succeed far better when we're loving and encouraging. In this tennis talk I did, I said, when you're on the court, talk to yourself, coach yourself inside, because that's your self-talk, like you would a 5-year-old tennis prodigy.
I love it.
This kid has everything she needs to be like in Wimbledon, and you want to help her get better. You don't want to blow smoke and gloss over the mistakes, but you don't want to crush her confidence and crush her spirit. You want to nurture her talent. So I think that's how, maybe this is a good note to end on, that changing the way you talk to yourself, and maybe that's something you need some help with, but that is your superpower. That's the game changer.
Yeah, because things are going to be hard.
Yes.
Like, life is just hard. And, if any of this stuff is resonating with you, all this stuff comes alive in a group. You can go to therapy and you can talk to one of us, and you can live inside your bell jar and swirl around inside your own head. But when you're in a group, these concepts come alive in surround sound in a way that's like, oh, other women are here too. Or we're always able to see things in other people where we're like, she could totally do this or she could totally do that, where we're not able to see it in ourselves. And so it's that bouncing of energy off of each other that takes these learnings to another level.
Yep. So if any of this resonates, in addition to our freebie, 7 Skills to Master Midlife, which you can get at insightsfromthecouch.org, we also have a Midlife Master Class we do, which is a 12-week group coaching program online. So it's available to anyone, anywhere in the world if you want to join us. We're doing these groups on an ongoing basis. Our next one's coming up soon, but we'll have one after that. So head to our website, insightsfromthecouch.org, and get on the wait list if you're interested. If you have any questions for us, join us in the chat. You can also find that on our website. That's where we keep the conversation going, answer questions about the podcast. And if you have questions for future guests, because we have some fantastic guests coming up on here, let us know in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, we hope you got some great insights from our couch today, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.